Okay, I think he's ready for his darker glazing. Now this is the dark brown that I'm using, and we're going to use this very sparingly. And this color, I believe, is Asphaltum by Deco Art. And what we're going to do here is really kind of use it only in the areas that are most to be shaded. See how that makes his ears look so deep and fluffy. And we're going to go around his eyes with this a little bit. You don't want it too dark because you don't want to lose the black eyes. You might want to leave that little bit of light there. But around his muzzle, very lightly. And you don't want like a solid line of this. As you notice, I'm kind of tapping it and dragging. Because you don't want to make it a solid line. You want it a shadow. And the same under his neck. I may add a couple hairs there at the end for his neck. But that's about all. We'll put a little touch of this under his mouth. Again, for his fangs to show up good. And you could go here and there. You know, animals have what they call guard hairs, the little dark hairs. And you could see there's barely any paint on my brush. So the next thing I want to do is redo the eyes. And I'm going to take my black paint in the back of my stylus. And go over his eyes. It's hard for me to do this on camera. He may have bigger eyes. And his nose. And then I'm going to take my tiny little liner from Mary Kingsland. This is the Royal 30 I think it's a monogram, and go over his mouth. And perfect your little shapes there. I am going to add just a little light around his nose. There. So I guess I have to stop again because I have to let his eyes dry before I do the next step. I'll be back. Okay, now we're going to add the little highlights for his eyes. And you could use just your light color. And I'm going to put a little dot. And a dot on his nose as well. And then with very little paint on that tiny brush, little washy swipe on the opposite side. And you can also do a little half moon to make your eye look round. There. And that gives him a nice look, a little face. So the next thing we're going to do, he's getting there. He's not quite done. He looks a little thin here. I might add some more fluff there, but for now we're going to do his little widow's peak. And I'm going to just kind of freehand just a little triangle of fur. I'm going to turn him upside down. And this will make him look creepy. I'm using the number 2 brush again. Don't make it too even. You could let some of the bear fur show through. It'll give him his little Dracula look. And rinse your brush. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of white. And I may let that dry. I think I did. I let that dry. And I'm going to go back to the brown, the darker shade, and give him his little spiky eyebrows. Make him look a little ferocious. And now, as I said, I'd like a little more in there. A little more fluff. He looks thin on his chin, his face. So I'm going to add some more light fluff into here. This is how you could shape your bear and make him personal, how you want him. Fill out his ears a little on the back, on just the ends. And it looks stark now, but then you could go back and glaze that as well. Let's try going back to the light right now. See how this is a lot of back and forth. Just a couple of little strokes of light in there. And this, I still see a big line here, and I don't like that. It looks too on purpose. So I want to blur that line up a little. And then next step will have to be to pull some of the shades and break it up so it's not so bright. I hope you're like understanding the process a little. It's very loose and it's very, now I put black on here and I just want to go a couple strokes at a time and give him little pointy eyebrows. Make him look a little mischievous. And then I'm putting white back on the brush, and I'm just going to paint these little white fangs in. Okay, now I'm going to outline the fangs later, but not quite yet because they're wet. And then go around with your highlights, and you could throw a couple of you know, light pieces of fur here and there, tips of the ears, the end of the face, not too much, and try to keep it random. Okay? And if you want his eyes to look a little bit more sinister, you could take that darker brown and set them in a little more. Here, we'll go with that. It's still washy. There we go. There we go. Okay. So that should be about it. I'm not gonna do the stroke work. I put a little spider web up here, and I painted a bat. I have a bat charm, but you could put a charm there or just paint it in, and then the stroke work and the buttons, of course. And he's about done. So I hope you liked the video. I hope it covered enough. I didn't want to get too long with it, but I wanted to give you the idea of how to do it. So you could visit me at tollpaintingdesigns.com, and I have all kinds of wood surfaces and patterns and fun things. Or you could write me at SheilaLandryDesigns@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to help you. I hope you enjoyed the little bear video. Thanks for stopping by. Okay guys, I decided to do one more little segment. So this is our appendix segment, and it's just to show you how to do this little stroke work here. And because I was lazy, I used my number 2 brush. I didn't feel like getting a bigger one, though you probably can. And I loaded it with lots of paint. And this is the gold metallic. And I just free-handed them. You push down on the brush and come around this and pull up gently. You could go over this. I think I went over twice on the first one, 2 coats, but for the most part, push down, follow your edge as you gently lift the brush. It's really not hard. And we'll do it again. You can push down, and as you come around the edge, you slowly lift the brush. And one more. It's really easy. The hardest part is not to put your hand in what you just painted. That's why I did every other one, because I did them all in one direction and then in the other. Push down. As you follow your edge, lift your brush. You don't have to do it fast. And see, like this one lost the tail. I ran out of paint, so just go over it. And make it look nice. It's all easy when you don't sweat it out. Okay? And then we did with the back of the brush, dot, 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 and dot. Okay? And there is your Count Theo. And here's my first one. So, see, they each have little different expressions. They're kind of fun. One to give and one to keep. Okay, take care. Thank you.